Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining today's webinar, AI and Human Collaboration with Business Process Automation. My name is Joachim Sepp-Haas. I'm Product Manager at Ultimus. Today I have with me Naveed Ahmed, Director of Professional Services, and Karl Freyt, our President at Ultimus. Before we begin, let me give you a quick overview of what we will cover today. First, Naveed will introduce Nelly, our AI assistant for process design, and show how natural language can make process design easier and faster. Then Carl and Naveed will demonstrate how AI agents can be added to an Ultimus process map and how their work can be orchestrated and governed within the Ultimus platform. And finally, Naveed will bring everything together in a practical quiz approval example, showing how AI and human expertise can work together in a real enterprise process. After this, we will have a quick QA session, so please share your question with us already during the presentation using the Q&A function. With this, let me hand over to Naveed.
Thank you very much, Sam. Okay, so I will be starting our vibe coding assistant demo. So this demo is integrated inside our DPA portal. So that's the main landing page or screen for our DPA portal. So generally it has these dashboards, but for today's demo, I will be using our process designer module. So basically that's the module we use for the automation of the workflows and also the business forms. So generally the human users, they can use this module for the automation, but we do have the possibility that the human user can take assistance from our vibe coding assistants. So let me show you that how we can access vibe coding assistants. So here we do have this option that we can enable our vibe coding assistant, which has different avatars. And we can also see what we are talking to our vibe coding assistants, or we do have the possibility that instead of talking, we can also chat basically with our vibe coding assistant. So I will be enabling one of the avatars. So today I will be using Nelly because this one is really nice and friendly.
Hey there, I am Nelly, your process designer assistant. How can I help you today?
Okay, so before I start, let me explain what exactly we will be doing with Nelly. So I will be asking Nelly to help me automating one complete vacation request process. So let me start. Hi, Nelly. Can you please create a process called vacation request?
Sure, please bear with me. Done.
Okay, so now Nelly has created one this workspace where the workflow can be created. So let's go back to Nelly and we will ask for the workflow. Can you please propose a workflow for this process?
Let me take a moment to think of a good suggestion for you. I'll review the available options and propose an approach that best fits your request. Please bear with me. While we're waiting, here are a few things I can help you with. Adding, linking, renaming, or removing steps, suggesting process forms, and defining organization charts or recipient groups for each step, and much more. That's done.
Okay, so now we have this initial workflow from Nelly, and I will be asking Nelly to, with single commands, to make some enhancements into this workflow. Can you please create a step called supervisor review between begin and manager approval? Please fix the layout. Please create a step called reject below manager approval. Okay, one of the things is that we are taking help from Nelly, but it is also possible that as a human user, I can take the control anytime and I can start making some addition or modifications from my side. For example, I take control and I add one step from my side. And now I can go back to Nelly, but this time I will be giving single command to Nelly, and Nelly is already intelligent enough to apply this command on multiple or all steps. Can you please translate all steps to German? Can you please translate all steps to English? Please assign recipients to all steps. Okay, so now we do have the workflow, and I will be asking now to help us with the business form. Can you please propose a form for this process? Okay, so what Nelly has done is that we do have this form based on our 6 tabs template. So on the requester tab, Nelly was able to figure out from our digital assets library that what could be the form for the requester. And from the service tab, we do have a form which Nelly has taken from the AI side. And from here, I can take the control and I can start modifying this form according to my need. For example, I can make one drop down. Let's remove this control. So we can make any change what we need. And also, it is also possible that I can also take help from AI. For example, I want to create a drop down with a list of European countries. So this prompt will go to AI, and we will get one ready drop-down control from AI, which will be fully working, embedded, and ready in our form. It is also possible that we can put some document slots in case if we need to collect some documents. Okay. So before we proceed, we do have possibility that we can test the form just to see that how the form does look like, and in case if we need to make more modification or not. So now we are in the test mode, and here you see that so this control is intelligent and was able to figure out that who's the logged in user, and this information is coming from the profile. This is our service tab. That's the drop-down control we created, and this is our document tab. So this form we can use for this process. It is also possible that we can save this form as part of our digital asset, so it can be reused in other processes at later stage. So now we can go back to Nelly. Please open Process Designer. Okay, now we do have workflow and also the form, and we can ask Nelly to publish the process. So publishing means that so far we have been doing the automation, but once the process has been published, it will be visible to the business people so they can start using this process. Please publish the process. Okay, so the process has been published. So it will be visible to this initial group like Germany underscore initiators. My user is part of this group, so that's why I should be able to also see this process and start. So for that, let's go to initiate view. Here we have this vacation request process, which is just published. We can open it like a business user, and we can start working and filling up the workflow, and we can do the submission. So it is also possible that as a business user, I can also access our vibe coding assistants who can help to speed up the form filling and form submission. Okay, so this was our first part of the demo. So, Carl, over to you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Navid, for showing it to us. And I think one thing we want to bring across is that we can use AI agents to work together as a team with humans to do development. And we can use that, and what we have learned, it works quite well in an environment when it comes to training, when you have unexperienced people and we can have Nelly to help him. Or also when you are more experienced, you have bulk commands, like Navid showed. If you want, for example, have done with 20 steps, Nelly can do it much faster than do it one by one in the traditional mode. So at the end, the possibility to work together as a team, making processes as well as forms makes it quite powerful. But let us now also jump to another way, how we can consider agents and how we use agents in our world. And to some extent, what we do is we consider agents in our processes and our workflow as like real people, to some extent like digital employees. And as you see, everybody who is normally part of the Ultimus, he can be part of the Ultimus domain or your LDAP or Active Directory. We also can include people from outside, but we also can include AI agents. And maybe you just click on them and you see you have some of them. And in order to search it easier, we have some different types. They can act as an assistant, they can execute something, they can decide, or we can initiate something. And maybe we can define some text to find them easier. And maybe when we want to add new ones, like with people, we would have something, an onboarding process like with real people, in order to make really sure that we know what we are adding, so that we have a little bit compliance and some governance about what we are adding here. Like to some extent to have the right skill for the right thing. And maybe you just open one if you don't mind. And you see, when we have one, we have here, works Jenny. We can give him a picture or more artificial picture. We can see what this type of agent it is. She also has a mobile number, because here we have, when we give her a call, we also can use her to initiate a process. We can also, an agent is a lot of comes with orchestration. You see here that we can use our tool to orchestrate the agent behavior. This we do like that, and you see also different things, what's happening before coming to the AI LLM model. Also, we have agent configuration here, which is normal stuff, which you just add to have it added. And other important thing, we have governance-related things we want to add here. This we mainly borrowed from the European AI Act, which needs to be considered. This is something which also has to be documented. We also consider risk, because every agent has some risk, which needs to be documented. And I think one important thing is, which we believe is important and will become even more and more important in the future, are the costs. We will track from the beginning the cost of this agent, because agent costs money, and sometimes maybe it's important to understand if an agent is really cheaper than a real human. And so this gives us a little bit the possibility to really to track that and to do that. And it's here we show the cost of one agent, but we also have, we call it a service hub, which is just combining the cost of all agents, so you can see where the cost, AI cost of your company go. But today we would also more or less look a little bit how we use them, and we maybe just go into our process designer. And in our process designer, let's just, if you don't mind, we just make a new process. Or whatever. And just maybe make a new step. And maybe for this step, we want to use an agent as an assistant. This when you just add them. And this means it's not a separate step. In the review step, you will have a chat control. And in this chat control, this assistant is chatting with you and helping you to do the job. And we also show you in this third example, we will show you how it works with the quiz approval. So, and again, maybe just continue to just do some process design, maybe another step, and then just also add maybe an execution flowbot. So that's it. So this means, just we are capable in order to use agents in our flow process like we do with our humans. And we can escalate and we can use them if you have a very skilled one. You can give them more rights if the agent is maybe not so capable and it's maybe very critical. You always can just add a human behind the agent. So you, as an orchestrator, you have full control about compliance. You have full control about how much freedom you want to give to an agent. You can make a process where you have the agents do everything, which I would maybe not recommend, but you can bring in also here the governance needed, depending on the criticality of the process you want to implement. And just like a side note, if you want to maybe these agents and if you want to do them, there's orchestration behind. And we can also use our tool. Maybe you just can open one of the examples, Navid, which is showing a little bit different examples, where you see that we can use our process designer also just to orchestrate agents like we can do with other tools. So you don't have to leave our system. You can also include humans. You can use also old stuff. So it's a very powerful way when it comes to orchestration. Good. I think that's what we want to show here. And I think Navid, you also want to show some kind of a solution which is showing a little bit where we use an agent as an assistant. When it comes to quiz approvals, the background is quite simple. There's a company, actually it was a bank, asked in the Middle East, asking us about we have to prove the knowledge of our employees when it comes to central bank policies. How do you prove which knowledge do your 500 people or even 1,000 people have when it comes to such type of policies? And let me show you an example which we did as a solution, which is just resolving this problem. And Navid, maybe you just take over and show it to us.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, so basically, let me show this example, what Carl just explained. Okay, so basically, here we do have this possibility that we can upload any kind of knowledge actually into our knowledge base, which is a vector database connected to our AI agent. Okay. And so let me directly jump here that through this workflow, I will show that how we can take help from our AI agent who has access to the knowledge base. So this is the chat window, what Carl just explained that if in the workflow, so let me show here. So if you see here in the initial step, this is where we are right now, but we do have the possibility that we can also get help from the AI assistant. So because of this step, actually, we do see here chat control, and we have the possibility that we can start talking to the agent. Okay. So for example, I say, can you please provide me a list of security questions? So what I'm doing is that I'm talking to AI agent and I ask AI agent to help me create an exam, list of questions for the exam. So AI agent will take my questions and will go into this big knowledge base and will prepare the exam and will give us the result. And as a human user, I can keep talking to AI agent until I am satisfied. And at one point, if I'm satisfied with the result, so I can stop there and I can move forward. Okay, so once we get these results from AI agent, so you see that I can take a look to these questions and I can ask more questions and I can keep talking. So at one point I can say, thanks, I'm done. Okay, which means that I want to stop here. And now whatever we see on the left side, which is a raw text actually in the chat control. So another AI agent will be called, and this AI agent will take this text and will convert into proper structured data, which is on the right side into Ultimus control. So you see that same questions are here in proper grid control. Okay, and from here, user do have the possibility that if user does not like something from AI, can edit something and can make the addition. So user can say that I want to include these questions into the exam campaign, which we wanted to run for the employees or for our team member to check their knowledge or do the evaluation where they need training or the knowledge. Okay. So we are on this initial step. From the initial step, actually, let me just, sorry. Okay, So we are on the initial step. It will go for the approval. Some people will approve it or can request for correction or send it back. And then we will do the planning, which means that who will participate in the exam and when the exam will happen, all these things. And finally, the exam will be generated, and then the people will be notified and they can participate in the exam. And once people start submitting the exam, they will, so the admin people, they will start getting the results and they can see that where people needs more knowledge and more training. Okay. So I will do the submission of this, and then I have already prepared one of the exam campaign, which I will use today. Okay. And then I will show for that. Okay. So this is how we do the submission. And to show you that how the people they can participate in the exam. So let me log in with another user who is basically the person who generally get the exam. So for example, this is one of the user. So generally these people also see some dashboard, like for example, to see that what is my next exam, okay, and what was the result of the previous one. And in the inbox, so this is the task as an exam this person has to do. This person can say, okay, let's start. So generally the person will see some instruction on the first page and the person can say that, okay, now I can start the exam. Okay, and then start choosing basically the answers. Okay, so I will choose these answers. Okay, so basically this is how the summary is that this user has basically attempted all 10 questions. 7 were correct, 3 were wrong. Okay. And here we see the summary that green means these were the correct answers and red means that these were the wrong answers and the correct answer is here. Okay. And then this user can say that I want to submit. So once this is done, so the people, the admin people, they will be notified and then they can, from their side, they do have different dashboards and reports and they can see the result. So let me show you from there. So I will go back to the user who was the admin user. So one of the thing is that they can see the results from here. So like in this exam, many people participated, okay, and we can see from here, for example, this was the user. So you see the score is 7, okay. Additionally, we do have multiple dashboards. For example, from here, we can see the exam campaign, and this is telling that how many people were part of the group and how many people have already attempted the exam. For example, one I did in front of you and other I already prepared or did before this webinar. And here we see the result. And also we can also monitor specific user. For example, I want to monitor this specific user, that how is the performance of this user so far in multiple exam campaigns. So we can also see different exams basically based on the date. For example, here we see that these are the total questions and mostly people they did the wrong answer for this question. And then we do have some more metrics. For example, multiple different departments or team members they participate into the exam or campaign, and we can see that which group has strong knowledge and which group has weak knowledge. So this gives the indication that what are the groups or team members requires more training and knowledge. And the knowledge base can contain different topics. And here we see that what are the topics where people have strong knowledge and what are the topics where people requires more training. And this is by user, like, for example, this is the user best knowledge, and then we have some more reports for the users. Okay. Okay, that's all from my side. Yes, Sam, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Let me share my screen again. Here we go. Okay. Freigeben and okay. Good. Navid, can you see my screen again?
Not yet, Sam.
Not yet. No, it should work. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect, thanks a lot. Okay. But first of all, Karl and Navid, thanks for this good and impressive presentation about all this AI and the concept. So this is a good moment to hear from the audience. And let me check whether there are first questions. And yes, I see there are already first questions. The first question is about Nelly, and the question here is, you demonstrated Nelly in English. Does it also support other languages? Yes. So today's demonstration was in English, and we also tested and make it work in other language like German. Um, Support for additional languages depends a little bit on the language model and the respective configuration, and of course also concerning this scope of the stuff. But technically, all other languages like Arabic, Spanish, Chinese are technically no problem. Okay. Then we get here, what version of Ultimus platform is this? Yeah, this is our latest Ultimus 2026. There's a small add-on for this Nelly, but the foundation is Ultimus 2026, our current latest Ultimus version. Another question, can I use any type of AI with Ultimus platform? You mean AI, different models like OpenAI, Claude, DeepSeek, and others? Yeah, technically, we can plug in different LLMs behind, so we are not locked for any specific AI. We can connect against different standard AIs. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah, this is the question for it's a developer, I assume, or a process designer. He said, would it experienced process designer be faster using drag and drop compared to talking to Nelly? Yeah. Uh, in fact, the Nelly is not to replace someone. It's a collaborative approach, what Navid also mentioned here. So it's really bringing the best of both worlds together. So if a process designer is faster than Nelly, of course, he or she will do it faster. But the Nelly can also be used for business users to train, to share best practices, to be a good buddy on the side. So it's the collaboration is in fact the main benefit of this stuff. Okay. What are your future plans with Nelly? Yeah, so the starting point of a process designer is in fact only the starting point. In the future, we are planning for Nelly to support additional areas in the Ultimus platform. So we want to give different applications, also other solutions, for example, our support solution, but even our inbox access to the Nelly, so that depending on the scope, the AI can help the user in working on the related task and help users to be more efficient, more faster. Does Nelly support validation of changes to business process rules? Navid, this is a question to you. Does Nelly support validation of changes for business rules?
Yes, Nelly can do this. If you apply a business rule on the process map, if you're talking about the process map, so you see that when we do the publish of the process, so that's the point actually where all the validations are verified. Okay, and if something is missing, so you will know. Okay, so definitely this is one of the area that will be available and is available.
Perfect, thank you. Can Nelly do a complex process? Yes, of course. So our demo is, of course, focusing on smaller scenarios, but the complexity, there's no limit in complexity. And then here's the last question. Is the AI processing the data? Is there a regulation to not share any data like person, phone, or national ID? Yeah, this is a very good question. So first of all, in our scenario, the AI or Nelly is not processing any data at all because it's just process data. But for the for Nelly itself, we can have different scenarios. We can use local LLMs, we can use on-prem stuff, so we can control which data is passed outside the world. So yes, there is a way to channeling and organizing stuff. Carl, you wanted also to include comments. Okay, not good. So as I said, there is a way
I have
Yeah.
to press my audio button, which I didn't find. Okay. No,
Yeah.
you're 100% right. And again, as said, it's always a balance between, let me say, governance and security, and to some extent costs. Because whatever Nelly can do, we can also have on a completely private cloud, and nothing leaves your company. But when you need to be aware about, but we also need to talk about AI architecture, which is needed in order to do all that. But as said, yes, it's possible to prevent that anything goes out. Also, we can also, when it comes to adapters, we can have even some kind of really logical filters not going through AI, but just make sure that only the data which is allowed is used. So there are a lot of possibilities to include governance here. Okay.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, another question. How Nelly can help in API integration or perform custom logic or help with crude operation for reporting? Today, Nelly is focusing on the process design, but we are currently working on extending this AI also to support different other aspects of our product. So this will be one of the next steps to include also this stuff, and especially not only this API integration, but also this vibe coding on form level and other areas where the AI can support us in creating adapters and these things. This is actively under our development, and it's very likely another webinar we can do very quickly soon on this stuff.
I think also one thing which I want to add, we are working on a project, which we are just doing it. It's not with Nelly, but with AI. So it's a very complex reporting requirement, which we are having it done with AI in the future with Nelly, which is just included in our platform and on our form to do what the customer wants. And this is happening really very, very fast, which normally in the past would have taken months, is now done in 1 or 2 days, in a few days. Okay, so I think exactly if it's happening today.
Good point. Thank you, Kyle. This is more vibe coding is excellent for version 1.0, but how does Ultimus DPA suite handle process changes months down the road? When modifying a process through natural language, is there a risk of breaking existing logic, or does the platform translate it into a structured visual model that IT can transitionally audit and maintain? So first of all, we don't let Nelly do crazy stuff. And this is exactly the combination of collaboration, human in the loop, but also this the process foundation in the back. So it's not that Nelly will kill half of the process steps and propose something new. So it's in case it's an iteration. Then the process itself, as the process is not driven by AI, but managed and governed by our BPM suite. The BPM suite is in control of versioning, publishing, and all this stuff. Nevertheless, the user who is managing this AI should have an eye on what it's doing, but the governance of the platform itself does support that upgrading and maintaining also versions is possible for long-running processes and more versions on the road.
Yeah, but also here, I think we can, as you said, it's version 1, as Jose mentioned. This is an excellent point, and in order to ensure that, I think we have plans that AI can help. But having said that, there always will be something like, at least in our view, a final look from a human in order to check that AI has done the right thing. And in order really to break logic and also to make sure this is one of the key challenges which, when we go into more capabilities, Nelly can do needs to be considered, and it's definitely something we have in mind. And it also, I think we will be able to handle it, but it will be also challenging. Yes.
Thank you, Karen. Good. Here's a question about cost and licensing. Does Nelly require separate license costs or include with product license? And similarly, have ChatGPT integration, while demo doesn't require active subscription. So for the AI part, obviously, if we're using internet-based AI or language LLMs, then the token is the money, and of course, this is something which comes on top. If you are running a local LLM, what we also see with several customers already, then of course the local hardware is paying for the AI, and then you don't have separate cost. And the nice lady that you saw, yes, this is a service which is used at the moment, but as Navid already showed, that there are different configuration options. Some are paid if you want to have this nice lady, and some are come free if you just want to have a more natural interface. So we have different options which are fitting to different cost models. Okay, I think this was the last question. Okay, guys, then I would suggest to close the session. If there's any further question, don't hesitate to contact us. So we have also our webinars on YouTube. So if you would like to watch them there, you can find them at Ultimus CPS on YouTube. Otherwise, I would say thanks for joining and looking forward to see you in the next meeting. Bye-bye.